Welcome to Encounter Wargaming. I'm Jay, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make some sweet little burning car piles for your Gaslands games. Alright, so there's kind of a little story behind this. As you guys know, Adam and I are getting into Gaslands, and we've been having a great time with it so far, journeying into a new miniature game. Basically, I came up with this terrain piece because I had purchased a bunch of these plastic cars from the dollar store, and I thought they were a wicked deal because it was like 6 cars for like $3. So I was like, wow, that's like amazing, 50 cents a car. I noticed when I started working with them that they were a very cheap plastic, probably some, made in China crap, and as I was trying to manipulate the pieces, they ended up cracking and falling off, and the tops ended up separating from the bottoms, and it was just a nightmare. So I've realized that for Gaslands, you really need to get yourself die-cast cars, like legitimate toy cars, car models, in that scale. Do you know what I'm saying? Don't go with the cheap dollar store crap. That being said, I purchased all my Hot Wheels at the dollar store for $2 a car, so that seems a little more the price range you're looking for. Anyway, I was left with a whole bunch of these shitty plastic cars, and I was like, what the hell am I going to do with them? So, basically, I actually went out and got a whole lot more of them, and decided to build a bunch of terrain pieces for our Gaslands games. Now, of course, these cars are actually a little bit, they're a little bit out of scale, but as I say, it seems all the all the Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars are totally out of scale with each other. They basically fluctuate. I've figured out anywhere between 1 to 72 scale to 1 to 48 scale. I mean, really, people have used in between. But these cars looked a little too big. They were slightly out of scale. But as car piles, they work absolutely great because they block line of sight. You can't move through them. You know what I mean? Like, they're perfect, right? And, why would I waste the toys I had purchased, even if they were crappy toys? So, that's what they ended up as. And basically today I'm just going to take you through step by step, right from the beginning, how I made these crazy things, and how you can make some of your own. Alright, so I'm starting with my packs of cars. As you can see here, there's about 6 in a pack. I think I said they were like $4 or $3 each, so that's pretty awesome because it's like 50 cents a car, right? But they come with these weird little, like, I don't know, starter things? Anyway, let's get rid of those. Screw that. We're not using these to play with cars. We're using these to make terrain pieces so we can play with other cars. So anyway, I'm going to take the just some foam core. I'm going to bevel the edges, make a nice little like round shape for them. These are just cut-offs from a past project that I thought I would use, and this is generally what I use them for. Of course, here I've got my tea lights, just like we did on that campfire video. I'm just going to take the cover off and then, of course, make sure it works. Now, before I attach these, I'm actually going to trace out the shape of them where I kind of want them on the terrain piece, and I'm actually not going to attach them till the very end, because unlike the campfire where we built around the fire, this one I actually want to be able to build the entire terrain piece and avoid, paint, water, glue, things like that getting all over the tea lights, because it does generally affect the performance of them. So now that I've got my holes cut, I'm just going to go crazy with my glue gun and just put cars all over the place. Just, haphazardly throw them around. You don't have to do anything special, just kind of, just go crazy with it. I don't know how else to say that. Just get creative, start throwing them around what you think would look cool. As you can see, I put a couple on the side, put a couple on an angle, just kind of build them up. So I actually ended up running out of cars, which is crazy. So I went to the dollar store and I bought a whole bunch more of them because I really want to complete these pieces and make them look awesome for our Gaslands games. So, as you saw, I just opened some new packages of them. I'm just going to keep going, putting cars all over these things. Just build up some nice, tall car piles, you know what I mean? Like a complete junkyard that is literally on fire. So, anyway, alright. Now I'm just going to take some random popsicle stick cutoffs, again, leftovers from past projects. And I'm literally just throwing them around. Any areas where I have like large spaces between cars and stuff like that, I'm going to glue them in there. Just to kind of close up gaps and things like that. Because I don't want the actual mechy workings of the tea lights being able to show through. And then I've also decided to take some toothpicks, or cocktail sticks as you call them across the pond there, and just make like crazy spikes sticking out all over the place, kind of make it look like a dangerous hazard that,
you don't want to mess with. And again, there's no real rule, rhyme, or reason to this. I'm just kind of throwing them wherever. But again, with these wood bits, we want to make sure we fill the any of the holes or gaps or anything like that between the pieces. Now comes the fun part, glue and sand. As always, I'm just going to cover the complete base in PVA glue. Also, any areas where you kind of have a hot glue glob between cars, make sure to hit that with the PVA and cover it in sand. Because once it's painted, it looks a lot better having a mound of dirt there rather than a glob of hot glue. And then once all that's on and dry, I'm literally going to paint the entire piece with my dark brown espresso rust paint, as I do every other terrain piece I build. I love this as a base. It acts not only as a primer, but also as a base coat at the same time. Now, because of the shiny plastic of these cars, I actually had to do a couple of coats, which is fine. Don't be afraid to put 2-3 coats on there. Just make sure that all the sand is sealed in nice and everything is nice and protected so that it won't chip off in the future. And then it's time to start painting the actual cars. So I've just picked like 5 different random colors out of my craft paints. I got some green, I got some purple, some blue, some pink, and just, again, haphazardly, kind of randomly throw on these colors. Now, they do look a little silly right now, but don't worry, we'll be washing them, sponge painting, and all that kind of stuff. So don't be afraid to go crazy with some bright colors and stuff, because they will be muted down by washes. And like I say, we're going to do the rust sponge paint and everything like we did in our past Gaslands video on when I showed you how I painted my actual team. Anyway, so there you go. I'm just throwing on some colors. And much like the brown, like I said, you needed a couple of coats. Well, now that I've got the brown on there, it's a pretty dark color. So some of these lighter colors don't really show up. Or, sorry, they do show up. What I'm trying to say is they look splotchy and weird. And as much as we are going to make them look weathered and splotchy, we don't want them to already look splotchy, because then it'll look painted. And we don't want it to look painted. We want them to look as realistic as possible, even though this game is not exactly realistic, but you know what I'm saying. So, I got 2 coats, 3 coats, maybe on a few of the colors. The pink especially, and the really light green, I noticed needed a 3rd coat, especially that aquamarine color really needed a 3rd coat. So just keep going till you have like a solid color on all your cars, and then we can start painting all the other details. Now that my base colors are on the cars, I'm basically just going to go around and paint all the silver bits. So in this case, it's hubcaps, grills, any kind of like, scoops, or any kind of, basically any bits you think should be metal, as well as those toothpick spikes. I want to also paint them metal, because again, I want them to look like spikes. I don't want them to look like toothpicks. And then, of course, I'm going to go around, paint all the wood brown. I got a cinnamon brown. I'm going to paint all of my popsicle sticks pieces, and yeah, that'll be that. So now I'm just going to take some black and just do the tires, because again, I've got silver all over them now. I've got the greens and pinks and stuff all over the tires. I want them to look like tires, right? So I'm just going to paint a little bit of black, touch those up all nicely. And then once all that's dry, we can start our washes. So I'm going to start first with a black wash. Again, this is just black craft paint and water. Probably a 1/3 craft paint and 2/3 water. This is what I like to use to wash my terrain pieces, because it's a lot cheaper than buying like GW washes, and it, pretty much just makes them look dirty and nasty. And then I'm going to cover them in a cinnamon brown. Again, create sort of a rust, dirt sort of look to them. Yeah, so we got the black wash, let that dry. Cinnamon brown, let that dry.
The wheel's still turning, our brains are frozen, and nothing seems to change.
And now it's time for sponge painting. So I've just got here a piece of black foam. It's that same foam that they use for figure cases and stuff. And I'm just going to rip a little piece off. And just like I showed you on the video where we painted the cars, I'm going to start with some black. And just randomly put black splotches all over these cars. Again, don't be too careful. Actually, the more random you are, the more realistic it's going to look. But make sure to concentrate on corners, around wheel wells, stuff like that. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of Doom Bowl brown. So it's okay to use a little bit of your Citadel paints once in a while to get the right color. I'm just going to go around and do Doom Bowl brown, just like I did where the black was. I'm going to take a little blazing orange and go around and finish those off. And as you can see right there, the one compared to the other, you can definitely see which one's got the orange and which one doesn't, right? It makes a massive difference. And it's dulled down all of our colors, all of our base colors. So like I said, they were super bright, now they're not. And they just look all nice and weathered. So for my team, I painted the windows of my cars blue. You can paint them silver or whatever you want. But in order to keep consistency, I've decided to go around and paint all of the windows on these pieces blue. And yeah, it's just that simple. I've also decided to paint all of the lights blue as well, and the rear lights, of course, I am going to paint red. And then once all that's done, I'm just going to take a little bit of that cinnamon brown and just dry brush the popsicle sticks again, because with the black washes and stuff on them, it dulled them down too much. I want to just bring out all that wood grain, all the details on those popsicle sticks to make them look like they actually literally are planks of wood. And it's just a basic dry brush. I mean, actually, it's probably even more of an overbrush if you want to get technical. In fact, now that I've got all of my other colors onto the base, I just want to go around and touch up that espresso again on all of the dirt areas and just bring them back to dirt color. So again, I'm going to pull out the cinnamon brown. I'm just going to dry brush this time. Not overbrush, dry brush all the dirt areas with that cinnamon brown, just to create sort of an in-between shade between my dark espresso and my final highlight. Again, we've done this on every other terrain piece we've done on the channel, guys, so I don't have to be too explanatory here. But for those of you that haven't watched a bunch of our videos, this is how we do things. Espresso, dry brush of the cinnamon brown, and then I'm going to finish it off with a dry brush, a very light dry brush of some bone color. So this one I'm actually using is called unbleached titanium. It's basically your bleached bone or your shop debone. And I'm just going to finish everything off with a nice light dry brush of that on both the dirt and the wood planks. But try and stay away from the spikes and away from the cars as best you can. If you get a little bit on there, whatever, it's not a big deal. It doesn't look that weird. But yeah, is what it is, right? And now I'm just going to go around and do some touch-ups here and there. Anywhere where the colors got where I didn't want them. Yeah, any areas where the dirt is that I don't really want it there. As well, I'm going to touch up any of the little silver bits, the windshield washers, or windshield wipers, I should say. Any areas of like the hubcaps and stuff, any little small metallic details that I didn't pick out before. But now that I've done all the sponge painting and the washing and stuff, it allows me to really pick those out and finish off those details. And as you can see here, I'm just painting the rear wheels red, or the rear lights red. Yeah, just because, well, pretty much no matter what kind of car it is, you're going to have red lights on the rear. That's just the way things are. And now it's time for grass. I'm just going to take some PVA glue and throw on some dead grass. I use this grass for my Malifaux models, for my other side models. Basically, we want this to be a dirt desert table when we're done with it, so I've decided to use the dead yellow grass because I think it looks really cool. And then it's time for the cotton. So basically you just take a cotton ball and you want to pull it apart, like literally pull it like you would pull pulled pork or something like that, right? Just pull it into strands. And I'm just going to take my glue gun and go around the rim of the area where I left the hole for the tea light and just glue them around the rim first. And then if you have to, you put a little bit of glue in the center and shove some pieces down into the middle if you have an open hole. And then, like I say, just grab it and sort of pinch it and pull it up so that you create that like nice cone shape. And yeah, I mean, you don't have to be too careful with it, but be purposeful with it. Like I say, try and make that nice like pyre, that nice cone shape, because it'll really help the effect of a fire when you're finally done. And just look like a nice cloud of smoke, you know what I mean? Nothing too crazy. Now, you can even paint this cotton, which I didn't do this time, but I will do in the future. But I wanted to get these done because we wanted to play Gaslands right away. Now that that's all done, the final stage is just to pop the covers off my tea lights. Make sure they work first before you put them in. And then literally you can just kind of pressure fit them into the hole, and then use the hot glue as sort of a caulking. Now, the good news about this, not only did, like I said, did I not get paint and stuff all over the tea lights while I was working, causing them to malfunction, but you can replace the batteries in these tea lights, which is great if the battery runs out, but sometimes the LED runs out, or is faulty or whatever, or something happens where they don't work anymore. And luckily, with the way I've done this, I can always take an X-Acto blade and cut them out after, especially because I didn't glue them all the way in. I just used it, like I say, around the rim like a caulking. I can actually take a knife and just cut them out later and replace them if I absolutely have to, and it doesn't affect the terrain piece. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. That's the final stage. I'm just going to go around now and hit all the windows with a little bit of gloss varnish just to give them that shine. Now, unlike my car team where I actually painted a nice transition highlight on the windows, I'm not going to worry about that on this because it is a terrain piece. But just hitting them with the gloss will really create that sort of shine that you want in glass. And that's it.
Sweet, so there's our finished terrain pieces. Now there's a third one here that you guys actually didn't see me build. You might have seen it show up occasionally in the background, but this is basically my prototype. These were actually the cars I originally intended to use for my Gaslands team. I was using these cheap Chinese pieces of crap, and then I realized they were no good to use for my team, so I decided, hey, let's make a terrain piece. And then when it actually worked out, I made 2 more. And I showed you guys how to do it. So I hope you really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun for me. I am actually going to, just for effect right now, because as you can see the LED lights are going, I'm going to turn off my filming lights and you're going to be able to take a real good look at them. Ooh. Car fires. Sweet. So yeah, that's them. Quick, easy, effective, and they're going to look awesome on our Gaslands table in our battle reports. As you guys saw, that was super easy, right? And all the materials are actually totally affordable. Like the lights are only, you know, a couple dollars for a pair, or I think it's $1.25 for, I think it's $1.25 for 4 here in Canada actually at Dollarama. And the cars, like I say, 6 cars for $3. Like that's amazing. Popsicle sticks, toothpicks, and a little foam core, and boom, you've got some amazing terrain that is interactive and very simple, right? Like just the flames alone, it just adds so much to the aesthetic of the table that it just makes it come to life, you know what I'm saying? And it's very simple, and it doesn't really require any knowledge of wiring LEDs and setting up switches and all that kind of stuff. Like, come on, guys, like, you know, we can't all be electricians, right? So we work with what we have, and we try to modify existing things around us into terrain, right? Personally, I think building terrain is all about resourcefulness. I mean, really. And this was a situation where I had a bunch of stuff that was going to go into the garbage otherwise, and turned it into a very useful, very awesome terrain piece. So I hope you guys are happy with that, and I hope you are building some of your own, because I would love to see more flaming car piles on Gaslands tables. So if you guys like this tutorial, please hit the like button. I mean, if you like it, like it. Awesome, right? If you have any questions, comments, please comment below. We love talking to our people, our viewers, I should say. And yeah, just become a part of the Encounter Wargaming family. Also, if you really like our stuff and you want to help us out, you know, with just the cost of things, keeping the lights on, like I say, you know, the cost of supplies and electronics and internet costs, blah, 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 please head to the description below and check out our Patreon campaign. For as little as $1 a video, you get a whole bunch more perks to watching Encounter Wargaming, and even discounts at certain retailers. So check that out. Otherwise, if you just want to help us out with a couple bucks, check out our Spreadshirt page, buy a t-shirt with our logo on it, and, you know, we get a couple of dollars just one off, maybe buy us a pot of paint or something. So, please, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you at our next encounter.
Like a monkey in a rocket on his way back home. Okay.